Hey guys, it's Ameriie, and today I want to talk to you about books that I want to reread. Now, some of these are more recent reads, and some of them are books that I read so long ago, I can't even really remember anything about it, except for the title. So that's going to be a lot of fun trying to describe what the books are about. Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. I don't remember anything about this book, except something happens that lands someone in jail. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the theme was like, can I even remember the theme? I read this for English class and I really, really loved it. I read this in high school, and one of the things that I really loved about English class was breaking down the symbolism and the themes. I know some people like hate that, but to me that was like the really interesting part of literature. I live for that part. But I just can't remember anything about this book, which is why I bought this Barnes & Noble Classic to just revisit it. And I'm sure I'll pick up so many more things than I did when I was in high school. So this is one. The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. I do actually remember what this is about a little. It was my first taste of magical realism. I read this in high school. One of the big takeaways from this, all I could like think about afterward was he's having sex with a corpse. He's having sex with a corpse. I'm sure there are many layers, there's a lot of symbolism, and I'm sure that played a part thematically into things, but at that time, I couldn't get around the fact that he was having sex with a corpse. And then there were things that were happening in the story that were magical and fantastical, but I was like, but everyone seems like it seems like it's normal, but no one's pointing it out. It was very much like, what's going on? I don't understand. I can't fix myself into the story because I don't. Why is no one noticing that there's magic happening? Like I said, my first taste of magical realism. But I did really love the characters. I don't remember them now at all, but I remember aside from taking away, he's having sex with a corpse, I also remember really liking the characters. But I think I'll get so much more out of it now, like reading it and understanding the relationships. There were a lot of adult themes, like things like marriage and loss. You're just not going to get that in high school. I mean, I guess some people will, but I think that there's just some things you're just not going to pick up until you're an adult. So I really want to revisit this one. I may end up buddy reading this with Nena of SCS Reads and Max of Well Done Books. He's since stopped his channel, but he's definitely active on Instagram, so definitely check him out. Nena might be reading this for the first time, as well as Max. I think I'm the only one who's rereading it, but don't quote me on that. Really looking forward to this one. This may be one of the books that I read within the next couple of months. Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This book had me in tears. I think I read this when I was maybe in 7th or 8th grade, and the author is so good at putting you in the mind of someone who's very simple, but then coming into intelligence, coming into himself, becoming very self-aware. You know, they say that you are what you think. Language actually helps shape ideas. It's not necessarily the other way around. I mean, it could be, but having language, it unlocks certain ideas. That's why it's so great to know a language that has so many words for so many specific things, because in a way it allows you to conceptualize those things better. He's able to understand himself and the world around him and what he wants, and he falls in love, and he becomes uber intelligent. And then you see the digression, and it's such a painful loss because you see his potential. It's just like, I don't know if I can handle this book. It really made me cry the first time around. And like I said, I was in 7th or 8th grade, but I've always wanted to reread this one. And when I found the copy, I was like, I have to delve back into this. And I'm sure there's going to be things in here that I did not catch as a 7th and 8th grader, but I don't know if I'm ready. The Picture of Dorian Gray. I always want to say The Portrait of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, but it's The Picture. I thought it would be better if it's The Portrait. And so many people you talk to will say The Portrait of Dorian Gray. And if Gray were spelled G-R-E-Y. There's like 2 things wrong with this title. I need to holler at Mr. Wilde. Between lives or whatever. I'll catch up with him later. First of all, this is not my favorite cover. I got this because, why did I pick up this cover? Why did I choose, Ameriie, why did you choose this cover? Oh, because I saw this at the Bodhi Tree. I bought this from the Bodhi Tree when the Bodhi Tree still existed. Now it's like an online bookstore, but the Bodhi Tree had like lots of books on spiritualism and some fiction as well. No, is that where I picked this up? It's $1.50. I mean, I guess it serves its purpose. It's the book, right? But this is just not the hottest cover. I don't know why I don't know. This is one of my favorite stories of all time. I love the story. I want to reread it. I saw, I think, a movie based on it. I tried to get into, there's a comic book, I tried to get into that, but I ended up putting it down. So I'm going to just sit down and reread it. I've attempted 3 times to reread the story, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. So this is one I definitely want to reread. The whole idea of one staying young forever and one's transgressions being put all onto this portrait, like so you can see from the outside what you look like on the inside, that is just that's such an amazing premise to me. I really can't wait to reread this because I'm sure that I'm going to catch on the 3rd time around things that I missed on the first 2 times around. And yeah, can't wait. Nosferatu by Joe Hill. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you already know that this is one of my favorite books of all time. I just inhaled this book the first time around, and every now and then I like dip in and out of it, and I just like read a line here and there. But I really am looking forward to just rereading the entire story. I love this. Parenthood, scary, frightening, man creature, bloodthirsty, children with sharp teeth, Christmas songs that play at all times of the year, haunting Christmas songs that play through the phone when you answer, when there's no one on the other end but children laughing. It's just really creepy. And Joe Hill is a fantastic writer, one of my all-time favorite books ever. Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is fantastic. As you can see from the tabs, I've talked about this one a lot too. So you already know immigration, class, feminist issues, gender, did I say race? Americanism. It's just fantastic. It's a fantastic read. I definitely want to reread this one. Can't wait. I talk about it all the time. I hand sell this book a lot. And then I just had this shoot recently, and we were in Santa Monica, and we were passing through Venice, and then it made me think a lot of the social things that were pointed out here. We were just like in this, it was basically like shabby chic, that kind of thing. And she kind of addresses shabby chic in this book, which I thought was really interesting. It's things that we already know, but the way she just kind of puts it out there. The whole concept of shabby chic. How it's basically, you come from a certain place of privilege to even be shabby chic, quote unquote. She addresses some of this, she touches on this, and many, many more things. I hand sell this, like I said. So if you're not reading anything these days, this is a great place to start. Excellent book. And all of those things are covered in a really humorous way, so it doesn't feel like she's lecturing or anything like that. The characters are just going through their lives, and they're just pointing certain things out and experiencing certain things, and it's just amazing, amazing. I need to read more of her books. That's been another thing, but I want to reread this, I think, before I get into something else. Or maybe I should just go ahead and read half of A Yellow Sun. Nope, I'm going to reread this first. Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. I really love this. I read this in like 1 or 2 sittings. I won't say too much about it, but essentially you have a girl who can catch glimpses of the future. And it's not a set future, but it's something that's going to happen if things continue to go as... You know, it's funny though, because I kind of felt like things were going to go that way anyway. I don't know. I have to reread it to really see what I feel about that. But a young girl lives with her father. Her mother killed herself. She has a best friend who's kind of getting pulled into this like cult. And then she's also experiencing these flashes of the future. But the flashes are also like historical. So she's seeing far into the future and looking back into her past. So essentially in the story, the girl is trying to cope with the loss of her mother, also trying to help her father cope with the loss of her mother. And then there are changes happening in her friendship while she's getting these flashes of the future. It's less sci-fi and more contemporary realism rooted in friendship and family and grief. But that one sci-fi element kind of laces it. And it's not a very long book, but it's extremely clever. It's so well done. I was blown away when I read it for the first time. I'm not even going to show you right now, but basically the whole Harry Potter series, I've been trying to reread this series for maybe 4 years, 5 years, and I never get around to it. I always start and then I stop, and then I started with the first book, but I realized I don't really think I can really read the first book again. Middle grade is not totally my bag. Sometimes I can do it, depending, but the first book and the second book and the third book felt very middle grade to me. I was thinking maybe starting with book 4, but every time I start, I just never finish. And these are books that I read like 1 or 2 days. I like inhaled them, which is why I want to really reread them, especially The Order of the Phoenix and On the Half-Blood Prince, even The Goblet of Fire, because I read them so quickly because I was addicted. I think there are a lot of things that I missed. So, and now I have the movie so prevalent in my mind, I really want the story, like as it was written, to be more present in my mind when I think of the story. So yes, the Harry Potter series. I think that's like on everybody's reread list, and so many of us don't even get around to it, right? Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I loved this book so much. The story just flowed. It just kind of wrapped me up. Some books are like that where they just kind of feel whatever they're meant to make you feel. They make you feel that, but at the same time they kind of wrap you up and it feels like a cozy read. You know how even like a horror read can feel like a cozy read if it just like settles you in, makes you just want to get some tea and not shimmy, but you know, something cozy. But I really want to reread this one. I loved it. Post-apocalyptic, the end of the world, really interesting details, but extremely personal. I am definitely going to reread this one because it was one of my favorite books of, I believe, 2014, when it first came out. I read it when it first came out and it was hot off the presses and I just fell in love. 2014. Yeah, it was one of my favorites of 2014. Highly recommend. Another one of my favorite books ever, Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This just, I was floored when I read this. I think I wasn't annotating my books at the time. That's something I do now. But I did lots of like folding. Like I fold pages on the top and the bottom, like depending on why I folded the page. And superhero or supervillain origin story. That just has such an interesting structure in the way she plays with time. All the chapters, or most of the chapters, are really short, so they just kind of give you this glimpse into what's happening with each character in a particular. I'm just all blip, 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 blip. Let's try again. Most of the chapters are really short because you kind of just jump right into the action, so you're with each character as whatever's happening. But because everything's pieced together, like the way it would be like in a film, you're just like jumping over here, you're jumping over there, but it doesn't feel disjointed at all. It flows beautifully. I love this book. One of my favorite books of all time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Those are the books that I want to reread. Let me know in the comments below the books that you are keen on rereading, and don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Please subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye!